Ciao ragazzi, in today's video myself and Jake are going to react in as Champions League match with Real Madrid. Before getting into the video, be sure to let us know down in the comments below what you made of the match, and don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on push notifications so you never miss a video. It was a very unforgettable first half, and it was for all the wrong reasons that it was unforgettable. This was once again a very flat and very poor and torturous performance from Inter. It was giving me flashbacks to that match against Torino. We were just so poor, just really didn't create, we could barely keep the ball. And you'd really struggle to believe that it was Real Madrid who were lacking the key players and not us, because we were absolutely horrific. As I said, we couldn't create. I can't actually recall us having a shot on target. We were deservedly behind at the half-time interval and could have quite easily been a few goals behind. Lucas Vazquez hit the post with a good shot, and then Ferland Mendy, fortunately for us, made the wrong decision. He had a really good chance that he should have shot at. Instead, he tried to square it and made a bit of a mess of that. But quite easily, we could have been multiple goals down, and it wouldn't have been the least bit surprising, and wouldn't have been undeserved for Real Madrid either. I really don't know what I can say about this. There's just so much that went wrong in this half, and perhaps the worst of it all was Arturo Vidal sending off. He managed to get himself 2 yellow cards for dissent within seconds of each other, and I mean, it's inexcusable. Vidal was meant to be a player who was coming in for these big games and was going to bring us loads of experience, but he's really let the team down on this occasion. And yeah, just really needless from him, and a very disappointing first half showing from Inter.
It's really hard to think of anything positive to say about that. The second half was better than the first half in terms of the fact that Inter looked more in control of the ball. They had a bit more in Real Madrid's half, but ultimately they didn't create anything. They didn't look like they were ever going to turn the deficit around. I thought going into the game there'd be a little bit of hope, because I thought in the reverse fixture Inter gave a pretty good account of themselves. I thought the defeat was quite harsh, but overall I'm really finding it hard to find any sort of positives. The manager just looks like he's really devoid of ideas. This 3-5-2 formation's really not working. He tried to change it the second half by going 4 at the back, which was obviously a lot more difficult given that he only had 10 players to use for that 4 at the back formation. But even then the players didn't look like they knew what they were doing. They're so used to 3 at the back that, you know, whenever a few players were moved around, they didn't really know their role. There were square pegs in round holes. It took the players 10 minutes to realise where they were playing. When they realised where they were playing, time was passing them by. They weren't creating anything. And it's just really disappointing. You can't help but think, what's the point in qualifying for the Champions League every season, working hard in Serie A to make sure you get in that top 4? You know, the club spent 7 years without Champions League football, and since it's come back to it, it's done nothing but fail at the group stage. They're going to be really lucky to even qualify for the Europa League, I think, at this point. I sound really negative, but I really can't think of any positives after that. I think the manager's got to take a long, hard look at himself, try and make a few changes to his system, or he's going to have to go. There's nothing that shows that he's got any sort of tactical nous at the moment. He's not willing to change his mentality in terms of being able to make Inter more of a threat going forward. And they don't look like they're ever going to keep a clean sheet, so it's just a bit of a poisonous circle at the moment. I'm really disappointed to be being so negative, but I really am struggling to find positive based on that. But let's look towards the weekend, I suppose, at least. Picking a top from that shambles is pretty difficult. In terms of the players who played the full 90 minutes, I think it's quite hard to criticise any of the defenders, so to speak. The first goal being a penalty, and the second one being a cross that sort of got diverted inadvertently by Hakimi. So I thought De Vrij, in terms of players who played the full 90, is probably my top for the match. And the most positive thing to come out of the 90 minutes is that we saw Sensi back on the pitch. It's really good to see him back from injury, and hopefully come the weekend we can see a bit more of him potentially start the game, because based on the time we've had Conte as manager, he's been the missing link. between midfield and attack. As much as Eriksen was brought in to play that role, it's not worked out. Since his injury at the start of last year, there's not quite been that perfect link. So hopefully, given that he's back to fitness, we can see him get some more minutes under his belt and he can provide that missing link.
The flop for me in this one has to be the situation that we now find ourselves in the Champions League. This match was billed as a must-win and we haven't won it, and we now find ourselves in a really tricky situation. We're still sitting bottom of our Champions League group after 4 games played, and whilst it's not impossible for us to make it into the next round, we can still finish second. It does require a few results in our favour and us having like a perfect ending to the competition by beating both Borussia Mönchengladbach and Shakhtar Donetsk, and personally I can't really see that happening. So I think the best we can hope for is just to make the Europa League. Obviously we had a really good spell and really good run in that competition last season, made it to the final and unfortunately got beaten. Given how things have went for us in the Champions League this year, it doesn't look like we're going to go much further based on this result and just kind of the whole performance in the competition so far. So fingers crossed we can maybe snatch a Europa League place, but it's certainly not looking good at the moment.